Hi, my name is Janice Gray, and I will be reviewing Chapter 8 of Skinner's book about behaviorism. The title of Chapter 8 is called Causes and Reasons. This chapter talks about analyzing behavior, and in this chapter, the first part talks about different causes. Example, first one is commands, advice, and warnings. A person can be commanded or told to do something, and that is why they do it. For example, like go, stop, don't run. Usually there's a negative, adverse consequence if that person does not follow. The next one, folklore, maxims, and proverbs. They're generalized kind of warnings that a person can have, and the effects could be like on your whole life, lifelong. The next one would be government or religious laws, and those are part of, like the religious laws can be part of a society, like a way of life. And then you talk about governmental laws, you follow those because you don't want to be punished. For example, don't speed, don't drive under influence. Those are the government laws. So it can those kind of rules maintain a society. The next section talks about the laws of science. And the laws of science are those contingencies that occur in the environment. So he gave an example in the book of a blacksmith and how he knows that he has to use the bellows to keep the fire a certain temperature so that he can successfully complete his work. And that blacksmith, takes on an apprentice. And in his book, let's see, on page 137, the blacksmith has a little chant, and it says, up high, down low, up quick, down slow, and that's the way to blow. So he teaches that to his apprentice so that he can show him how to keep the fire at a certain temperature so that it is hot enough. So the apprentice follows, his behavior is based on the rule because he has never experienced the bellow. He has never experienced this work. He's new at it. So his is not based on experience, whereas in the blacksmith himself, he's experienced it to know that this is what he needs to do. So his behavior is contingent to knowing what temperature it needs to be and what he has to do. So when referring to the blacksmith, it was contingency based. So just like if I leave the lights on in my car, then the battery will probably die. It's not for sure, but it probably happened. Whereas in the rule-based, which was the apprentice, don't speed, don't drink and drive. He basically followed the rule that he was taught by the blacksmith. Another example of the contingencies that Skinner gave was in his book on page 141. He talks about grammar, and he says that people spoke to each other and followed the grammatical rules before there were actually rules written and rules taught in school. And that happened because they used what was best for them in different situations. It was developed in different communities, and it was reinforced in those communities. And those reinforcements, differed from different settings, but that's how the grammar was established. The second part of this chapter, Skinner talks about reasoning, and he breaks it down into induction and deduction. But first, you talk about reasons. He said people usually use reasons to explain behavior, like the reason why I ate the sandwich was because I was hungry. Or I think he specifically said the reason why I went to the bank was because I needed money. So we as people use reasons to explain our behaviors. So reasons why the behavior occurs and what happened. So when you talk about reason, the first one was induction. And induction starts with something specific and it goes to something general. For example, if I say to you, I have 4 vehicles. first vehicle is a Nissan. The second vehicle I have is a Nissan. My third vehicle that I have is a Nissan. Then you would reason that, okay, all of our cars are Nissans. So you went from general went from specific about each car to generalizing, oh, all of our cars are Nissans. Then the next part was deduction. So when you talk about deduction, you go from general to specific. For example, if I say I have 4 kids, and all of my kids went to college. So and I said, and I introduced you to my kids. My first daughter is Christina. She went to college. My second daughter is Jessica. She went to college. My third daughter is Jasmine. She went to college. And then if I said to you, I have one more child, I have a son, his name is RJ. Then you would deduct that, oh, RJ went to college too. All right, for my 2 discussion questions. The first one, when I first started teaching, I was told to always keep a record and keep a log of parent contact, because if you ever need to go into a meeting, you need to document that you've either talked to the parent, maybe contacted the parent by note. You always need to have a log of that. And I started off doing it, but things get busy, and so I kind of stopped. And then I had a meeting one time, and I knew that I contacted the parent, but the parent just seemed to forget that I contacted them. So ever since then, I always made sure that I kept an updated parent contact log. So this is the question. Name an instance in your life where you had to suffer a consequence before you realized that that is probably a rule or a procedure that you had to follow. That's the first question. The second question has to do with reasoning, inductive and deductive reasoning. There are times in my life that I have used inductive reasoning. For example, I'm a school teacher and I've taught at the same school for about 14 years. So I've taught siblings. So going from specific to general, I have said, okay, I had the oldest sibling, and he struggled academically and had an IEP. Then I had the next sibling, and he struggled academically, and he had an IEP. And I, reasoned that, okay, this next year I'm having the younger sibling, and he's probably going to struggle and have an IEP. And that's wrong as an educator to assume that. But actually, that assumption was wrong, because this last sibling performed actually well and did not need an IEP. So the question is, name a time in your life where you used inductive or deductive reasoning and it was wrong. Thank you.